All right, let's just jump right in. Imagine for a second that the biggest, most glamorous movie star in the world, we're talking a true Hollywood legend, decides at the very end of her life that she's finally going to tell the truth, the whole truth. But here's the catch. She'll only tell it to one person. This is the story of Evelyn Hugo, a woman known for her ambition, her beauty, and of course, her 7 husbands. But the real story? It's about the one great love she had to hide from everyone her entire life.
So, the story kicks off in 2017. Evelyn Hugo is 79 years old, and she's basically been a recluse for years. Then, bam, she's all over the news. She's auctioning off her most famous, iconic gowns for a good cause. The whole world is talking about it. But this grand, generous act? Turns out, it's all just a smokescreen. A brilliant distraction for what she's really up to.
Because the dresses aren't the real story, not even close. The real story is why this intensely private legend specifically asks for Monique Grant, a writer at a magazine who's, not exactly a household name, to write her biography, a tell-all that can only be published after she's dead. The answer to that one question, why Monique, is the key that unlocks absolutely everything.
Now, to get the secrets, you've got to understand the star. And Evelyn Hugo wasn't born. She was made. She was carefully constructed, piece by painful piece, from this determined young girl in New York City into the absolute queen of Tinseltown.
I mean, this is a masterclass in reinvention. On one hand, you've got Evelyn Herrera, the ambitious, poor daughter of Cuban immigrants. And on the other, you have Evelyn Hugo, the blonde, bombshell movie star, with a backstory completely cooked up by a studio. She didn't just change her circumstances, she literally erased her own life and started over.
Becoming Evelyn Hugo was a cold, calculated formula. Get rid of the Hispanic name, bleach the dark hair blonde, bury her actual difficult past, and replace it with this shiny, all-American story. She figured out really early on that in Hollywood, the story you tell is way more powerful than the truth.
And don't get it twisted, she was absolutely ruthless about getting to the top. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? She knew old Hollywood was a dog-eat-dog world, a total battlefield. And she was ready and willing to do whatever it took to win. Her ambition wasn't just a trait, it was her weapon. But behind that fierce, power-hungry persona was a secret she guarded more closely than any award. The public saw a woman who seemed to collect famous husbands like they were stamps, but they never, ever saw the one person who actually owned her heart.
And the tabloids, of course, ate it up. Her 7 marriages were constant front-page drama, feeding this story of a siren who just moved from one man to the next. This headline about Mick Riva, it's just one tiny example. This was the illusion, the carefully crafted brand of Evelyn Hugo. But then there was this, a quote so different from all the public noise. This isn't about her looks or her fame. It's from someone who saw the real Evelyn, the sharp, strategic, complicated woman underneath it all. And the person who said it was her biggest rival, another actress named Celia St. James.
And there it is, the heart of the whole story. Those 7 husbands? They were a business strategy, a shield, a lie she had to live every single day. Because the epic, sweeping, once-in-a-lifetime love of Evelyn Hugo's life was Celia St. James. In that era, a truth like that would have destroyed both of their careers in an instant. Her marriages were about one thing, survival.
But protecting a love that big took more than just sneaking around. It meant building a whole secret life, a family that could operate just outside the spotlight. An arrangement so complex and so clever, the public never even had a clue.
So how on earth did they do it? Well, it was brilliant. Publicly, Evelyn was married to her best friend, a producer named Harry Cameron. At the same time, Celia was married to a football player, John Braverman. But behind closed doors, Evelyn and Celia were the real couple, and so were Harry and John. It was a perfect 4-person arrangement designed to give everyone a cover story. I mean, just think about the sheer effort this took. They were 2 separate couples to the world, but in reality, they were one big family. They raised Evelyn's daughter, Connor, together as a team of 4 parents, all while putting on a constant performance for the public and quietly using their money to support the very community they had to hide their identities from.
But a life built entirely on secrets, it has to take a toll. And every secret comes with a price. Which brings us right back to 2017, to Monique Grant and the final absolutely shattering reason that Evelyn chose her, and only her, for this story.
Because before Evelyn got the chance to tell her truth, she lost them all. Her entire secret family was just gone. First John, then Celia, the love of her life. Just a year after that, her best friend Harry. And decades later, her own daughter Connor. In the end, she was the only one left, holding a lifetime of secrets and one last terrible one to confess.
So it all comes back to this. Why go through all this trouble for a writer no one knows? What could possibly link Monique Grant to the secret inner circle of Hollywood's biggest star? The answer is buried in a tragedy that destroyed one family and haunted another, even though only one of them knew the truth. Right as Evelyn gets ready to reveal the final piece of the puzzle, she says this to Monique. It's so chilling. She knows that what she's about to say is going to completely detonate everything Monique thinks she knows about her and, even worse, about her own father.
And the whole devastating secret boils down to just two names: Harry Cameron, Evelyn's best friend, her confidant, her fifth husband, and a man named James Grant, a man Monique only knew as dad, who died in a car crash when she was just a kid.
This is the awful truth. Harry and Monique's father were lovers. The night of the accident, Harry was driving drunk and he crashed the car. In a moment of pure panic, desperate to protect their secret, Harry dragged James's body into the driver's seat to make it look like he was the one driving. Then he wrote a suicide note, put it with James, and ran, leaving Monique's father to die all alone. Evelyn didn't pick Monique just to tell her life story. She picked her to finally confess the ugly, hidden truth of how her father really died.
And with her story finally told, with every last secret, the beautiful and the truly monstrous, out in the open, Evelyn Hugo died at 79. She controlled her own exit, just like she had controlled her own story for her entire, complicated life. Which leaves us with the one question that hangs over everything. Evelyn Hugo lied, she manipulated, she hurt people, all in the name of protecting the one person she truly loved. Was it worth it? Is a life spent hiding in the shadows a fair price to pay for one great, epic love? That, I guess, is for you to decide.